Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be ranking the best budget cards in NBA 2K23 MyTEAM here on this tier list. So we got a little bit over 40 cards on this tier list, so I'm going to try to go pretty quick so this video isn't too long, but a lot of cards to rank today. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 11,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day and would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. Aaron Gordon, I actually do believe, is honestly a very solid card. Not going to show 2KDB for all of them, but he's 6'8" at the shooting guard position. Really quick, great defender, very good shooter, great dunker as well. He's got awesome all-around badges, very good defender. This card is very, very solid. I don't love the Aaron Gordon release, but it's decent. He's got normal leaner. He's got decent, not incredible, but solid sigs. Lillard behind the back is nice. Dunk animations aren't too crazy, but he's going to be an awesome slasher, obviously. I mean, he's really good. Like, you could argue he's an S-tier budget card, and I think he might even be close to that S-tier. But for right now, I don't know. I'm going to throw it to the S tier for right now. I really do think he's looking really, really good. I'm very impressed by this card on paper. So I don't know. Aaron Gordon might have himself a slot in S tier. Al Horford is like 6'10", but I don't love his release. I think that's the main thing about Al Horford that I'm not a big fan of, because I do think he is a decent card. I just don't love the fact that he is that his release isn't that good, because he does have great size to shooting guard position. Obviously, he's a very cheesy card because of the fact that he is, what, 6'10" or 6'11". But I still struggle to see, because of his release, him being like a top tier card. He's a good shooter, great defender, decent speed, not too crazy, can kind of move, but nothing too insane there. Very quick release timing is good, but I mean, at 6'10", I feel like I have to put him A tier, but I just don't think he's that great. AI is like 6 foot 6'1". He's just so undersized. He's a great dunker. He's got a good release, but he's not a great release. He's too undersized. I'm sorry. He's got to go D tier. Gonna put AKC tier. He's just a 3-and-D guy, but he's mainly a defensive guy. Does have off quick first step and clamp breaker, but he doesn't have great sigs, not a great dunker, doesn't have great dunk animations, and I don't love the release, but defensively he's still a top tier card, and I do think he's a C tier type of guy. Blake Griffin, really athletic, solid card, not incredible. I think he might go B tier. It's a B or C. 6'10". He's a great slasher, obviously. Not the greatest defensive card in the world, but not bad. Good speed for a power forward is nice. I don't love the release on quick. I don't think it's that great. His sigs are decent, but not incredible. We'll go B for now. I think he's good enough to be B, but I don't think he's an incredible card. Cam Reddish, I think, goes A tier. I think he's one of the best couple small shooting guards in the game in terms of the budget cards. I think you could even argue that he's S tier. He's got a good release. He's a great defender, 6'8", moves pretty well. I think he's really solid all the way around. I think he's as good as Al Horford, maybe even a little bit better. And we're going to put him top of A for now, but I don't think I can do higher than that. Christian Wood, great pick and pop card. Don't think he has an insane release, but I mean, it's a very good release. I wouldn't say it's like the best release in the game, but it's a very good one. He's a great dunker as well. A decent enough defender with decent size. He's honestly A tier, I think, still. That's tough. He's A or B. I'm going to leave him A for now, but this was a tough one for me for sure. CJ Miles, I think, is going to go B tier. He's just a 6'6" shooting guard Rudy Gay, basically, I think is the best way to describe him. I mean, he's a good card, just not great. Danny Granger, I think, is C. I would almost argue D. I don't like his release, but he's good in other areas. Not the best defensive card in the world, but I think he definitely needed a better release to be higher up than C tier. Danny Manning, I think you could make an argument for S. I really do. Really high on this card for sure. At 6'10", having good speed, a very capable defender, a good shooter, and a good dunker with good all-around badges. Can get every badge added. Release, I don't love the release, but I do like the movement a lot, which is nice. I think because the release is mediocre, I'm gonna go A with Denny Ferry. If he had a better release, he'd be like arguably S tier, but because he doesn't have that release, I'm going to put him A, but I don't think I can put him higher than that. De'Aaron Fox is super fun to use, but he's a small PG. He doesn't have a great player build. He's got a fast release. He's a good dunker, but he is a bit undersized. Just not as undersized as Allen Iverson, but I do think he's a pretty decent card in C tier. Going to go S tier for Dino. I do believe out of these budget cards, I love Dino's size, his wingspan at 7'11". He's an amazing power forward. I'm still starting him on my God squad. I think he's a very, very good card. A lot of these cards are really good cards, but Dino is, in my opinion, one of the best ones, and I think it's going to be fair to put him S tier. I'm going to put Dion Waiters C, and I'm looking for the card that Dion Waiters came out with. Here we go, Lance Stevenson. I'm going to put Lance Stevenson B. I think Dion is a slightly worse option. Lance is a little bit better, a little bit bigger, slightly better release in my opinion. I think Dion is good. I think Lance is closer to great. I don't love Dion Waiters' release. That's the main thing with this Dion Waiters card, is that his release just is not that good of a base. If I remember correctly. Oh, they changed his base. Okay, never mind. He's got Gabe Vincent base. So that's not actually that bad. I think he's got a pretty good release then. So I think C tier, though, it's still a little undersized. Not the best card. Lance is a little bit better, a little bit bigger as well. So we're going to go B for him. Dominique is also going to go B. I just don't love his release. He's a great slasher, good size, decent defender, but don't love his release still. So going to go C for him. Or sorry, B for him. Gary Payton, I do believe, does deserve to be S tier. I think he's one of the best short PGs in the game. He's like borderline S, borderline A, but I think we got to go S. He has the tray fade. He moves really, really well. He's got quick drops off one, which is the best safe dunk in the game. He's the best defensive PG, who is at least short in my team right now. I think he's a very good card. Jaden McDaniels, I'm going to go high B. I think Jaden does have great SIGs. I don't love the release. It's a little bit slow. I think he's a better version of an Andre Kirilenko because he's a better shot creator. Still a great defender, and release is pretty similar to AK's in all honesty. So going to go B for him. A guy who would be really high on this list if he had a better release is James Wiseman. Because his release is so poor, I think I still go B tier because he is a very good card in every other area, but I do not like the release. If he wasn't a center, he would be much lower on this list, like C or a D because of how poor his release is, but at the center position, you can get away with a slower release a little bit more, and he does give you a lot of value still with a great player build, so gonna go B for him. JJ Redick, I think, is honestly maybe A. This Redick card is actually very, very good. I'm surprised by how good he is, to be completely honest. He's 6'4", he does have a short wingspan, but he's an incredible shooter, half quick first step. Doesn't give you a ton defensively, but at least the defensive stats are pretty good besides the block rating. Every single gold key badge. Very, very good dunker because of his getting a glitch card earlier this year, which is really nice. Does move really well, and he's got a very good release. Elite shooter. No, he's not A. He's B. We got a lot of B tier cards. I'm going to move Blake Griffin down a little bit. I'm going to move Dominique Wilkins down a little bit just because I don't like either of these cards very much. I think it's fair to put them down because Blake's going to stay up in B, but I think Redick just can't go A. I'm going to be honest. I can't quite put him there. Joe Johnson, again, is another like C tier-ish card. I'm going to have to put some of these guys in D tier, and I don't really like, I think I like most of these cards. I don't really feel like there are very many D cards on this list. I guess I'll move De'Aaron Fox down because he's undersized, and I don't like Granger's release at all, so I'll move him down as well. Joe Johnson's good. He's got an okay release. He's a pretty good mover. He's just a fine card. He's not great, but he's a solid option at the shooting guard position. I think he's about on the same level as Dominique Wilkins, to be completely honest. So putting them both in C tier is fair to me. I got to go Kuminga in D tier. I'm sorry. I know Kuminga's a pretty hyped up guy, and he's had some really good budget cards in the past, but his release just isn't very good this year. He is a very good dunker, a capable defender, and quick, but I don't like the release too much. That's really the main thing. SIGs are not elite either. He's just not elite in my opinion. I got to go D tier. Remember, most of these cards in D tier even are not bad cards. I just don't think they're great. Another guy who I'm putting in D tier because I absolutely despise his release is Josh Smith. One of my least favorite releases in the game, but like legitimately one of my least favorite. I cannot stand his release. It really ruins the card for me in a lot of ways, to be completely honest, because he actually had the potential to be good, but he has one of my least favorite releases in the game, period. I cannot stand it. So for that reason, I'm putting him D tier. Gonna go Keegan Murray in C tier. He's got a better release. He's a solid card. He's just not elite in any specific area, I wouldn't say. Like, he's a very good shooter, but he doesn't have the fastest release in the world. It's just a good release. Bully, limitless, takeoff, posterizer, clamp breaker, quick first step. He's a capable, pretty good slasher, actually. Defensively, he's kind of meh. Dunk animations are like not insane. He doesn't have front clutches or quick drops or anything like that. But the release, like I said, is pretty good. The SIGs are okay. The defense is solid, but not great. Like, he's just a pretty decent card. He's going to go C tier. He's not bad. Oh, that's not Alperen Şengün. I'm sorry. That's Klay Thompson, who's a 6'6" center. Do I need to say anything else? He can only play the center position. He's 6'6". Sorry, you're going to go D tier. Kyle Korver, knockdown shooter. Very similar on level, to be honest, as Joe Johnson and Dominique. Not as good of a defender, but really, really good shooter with a great release. Just struggles a little bit defensively and is a little undersized. Not the fastest card in the world either. Luke Walton's an easy S tier for me. I do believe he is probably the best card on this list. This Luke Walton card, I think you could legitimately make an argument, is the second best point guard in the game right now. I think he's that good. Super duper high on this Luke Walton card. Definitely a guy that I think is pretty much a must pick up no matter what you think of your team right now and how expensive your team is or anything like that. I don't know. Luke Walton is an absolute monster. Malcolm Brogdon, I'm sorry, I got to go D tier with him as well. He's just, I'm going to move De'Aaron back up to A tier or C tier because I don't think he's quite as bad. Not all these cards are bad, but Malcolm Brogdon, just slow release, not the best movement, not the greatest defender, not the best size. He's only 6'4". He's just mid. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a big fan of the card. Let's see. I think Keegan's got to go up to B. I'll be honest. I think he's good enough to be B. Marc Gasol would probably be, end of C. He's still a good defender, but he's a little bit slow. Release is fast, but ugly, so it can be inconsistent to green. I think that's fair. I'm going to go Marcus Fizer at A tier. I think he's really good. Like, I think you could borderline argue S tier. He's got a very good release. He's a good defender with great size, really good rebounder, plays bigger than his size, good player build. Definitely a very solid card. Also going to go Mark Eaton. Nah, I'm not going to push it. I'm going to go Mark Eaton in B tier. He can't shoot at all, but he's 7'4", and he's the best counter that we have defensively as a budget card for Taco and Yao, which gives him a ton of value despite not being able to shoot because of how big his player build is, how tall he is, and how good of a defensive guy he can be. So I think it's fair to put him in the B tier. I'm going to go MPJ in A. Great shot creator, solid release, good not insane defender, 6'10" at the small forward position does give him very good size, very solid card. I think Mikal Bridges is a better option than the shooting guards we have in C tier, but I don't know if he's quite good enough to go A tier, so we're going to go B for Mr. Bridges. Nick Claxton, I'm legitimately putting A. I love this card. I think he's awesome. Can play power forward or center. Very, very good defender. Plays bigger than 6'11". Rebounds the ball really well. Has a release that I'm a big fan of. I'm using Nick Claxton as my backup center on my God Squad right now, and he's like 5,000 MT. Like, he is a really, really nice budget card. Big fan of what he can do on the court. I think he's better than Jaden McDaniels, and I have Jaden top of B, so I'm going to go Claxton in A. Pascal Siakam, I don't like his release, man. His release is so ugly. It's like Marc Gasol's in that it's kind of quick, but it's even uglier and more inconsistent than Marc Gasol. And that just, release is so important. And I think that's one of the main things that's brought a lot of these cards down on this list, is that I think release is super important. So if shot release doesn't matter quite as much to you, you might like some of these cards more than I do. But Pascal Siakam, again, is one of those guys who's just got to go lower. I don't know why I put Rajon Rondo on this tier list. He's 6 foot and can't dunk. I don't know what I was thinking there, to be completely honest. He's not one of the best budget cards in the game, but we're going to throw him in D tier because, yeah. C tier, I think, is Ricky Davis. I think he's on the level of all these other shooting guards we got in C tier: Corver, Dominique, Joe Johnson. He's a great offensive card with really good SIGs and still a great release. And he's a good slasher, but he is limited on his badges at this point, and he's not a very good defensive card, so he is going to go down in the C tier. I think RJ Barrett, I have Cam Reddish in the A tier. I'm going to make an executive decision, and I'm going to move Cam Reddish up to S tier because I'm really high on him, and I think RJ Barrett's not quite as good, and I do want to put RJ Barrett in the A tier. So we're going to put RJ Barrett A, just good at the shooting guard position. Very solid, can compete. Really good all the way around as well. Not quite as good all the way around as Cam Reddish, and Cam is bigger, but I do think he's a very solid card and should not be underrated. Another guy who's very, very good, I think you could argue S, I'm actually going to put him S, is going to be Rudy Gay. Love his release, very good defender, amazing player build, elite slasher, moves pretty well, very solid card there. Terry Dishinger, I do believe, is going to be B. Yeah, he'd be higher than B, except for the fact that he doesn't have handles for days or anchor, which are two of the most important badges in the game, because he's got it, great animations, great size, very solid defender, and an elite slasher. I don't know. Can't go higher than B for him. TJ Warren, I think, is C. I've heard his release is good. I have not actually used this card, but he does look pretty solid on paper, so we'll put him in C. And then we're going to finish out with Tony Allen Clamps, who, I'm sorry, DBG, he's going D tier. I just think it's fair. He doesn't have good SIGs. They made this card so mid, unfortunately. They did not gas out Tony Allen like they should have. He's only 6'4" at shooting guard as well, which does not give him great size. He's not a good shooter. Needs all these shooting badges added. Release is not that good. SIGs are pretty, not great, but not horrible. But like, yeah, he's just not good. He's gonna go D tier for me. So that is gonna do it for my tier list of the best budget cards in my team. Let me know what you think of my list down in the comment section down below. If there's anybody you think I ranked too high or too low or left off the list entirely that you think does deserve a spot, feel free to let me know about that. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.